Hi, welcome back to Space Thoughts. A quick video today, just because there was a very significant event in the commercial space industry that needs to be talked about. And if you've been watching the media, particularly Space News or other outlets like that, you know that Virgin Galactic received the okay from the FAA to fly spaceflight participants, or what we call space tourists. Now, this is definitely a huge milestone and definitely a good thing for Virgin Galactic because they've been really working towards this for quite a long time. But the FAA appears satisfied with the information they received from Virgin's test flights, and they basically modified their license. In fact, yesterday they modified the license to permit them to fly spaceflight participants. Now, I don't expect this is going to be, they're going to be filling up the Spaceship Two completely as they begin this process, but I think they'll start doing it gradually to get the idea of flying spaceflight participants, get some experience, see how the spacecraft handles and whatnot. But surely, you know, there is a backlog, and they will. I'm sure if everything runs smoothly, they'll be queuing them up to get them the ride they actually paid for or paid for a long time. So that's a great development for Virgin Galactic, and I really look forward to seeing them move forward with this. Now, a second thing that happened, this was kind of under the radar, and this actually happened a couple months ago, was the New Mexico State Legislature passed a law called the Spaceflight Informed Consent Act. Now, this law had already been in effect, and back in 2013 in particular, this law was amended to basically make it active until July 1st, 2021, which is, well, just a few days away from here. Now, what the Spaceflight Informed Consent Act does, it basically complies with federal law saying basically that any spaceflight participants have to be made aware of all the risks involved with these types of activities, and they also have to sign a hold harmless agreement. Now, if you're not in the legal profession, basically a hold harmless agreement basically says, I sign away any potential injury, death, or whatnot during the course of this activity. Now, of course, there are caveats to the idea of hold harmless agreements, and you can't you're in a sense you're signing your rights away, but under certain circumstances it can be sued upon. I think I've talked about this a little bit. I know I've written about this a lot, but the idea is the Spaceflight Informed Consent Act has been renewed, and the idea and what's significant with this one is, instead of, basically having what we call a sunset provision, which the 2013 amendment had, this version basically says no, basically no sunset clause. It runs as long as the legislature wants it to until it decides to repeal it. So that is firmly in place, and that is definitely significant for Virgin Galactic's operations, and of course any other operator that's operating out of Mexico. And of course there are other laws, similar laws in other states as well, and I'm sure those will be looked at as well when these types of activities ramp up in those areas. So those are really two big significant actions that happened well within a few months of each other. But again, this is really good for Virgin Galactic because now they can actually get up and start producing these revenue flights, and this looks good for Spaceport America as well. Now, one thing that really came to mind when I was reading about this is Congress has already been debating whether or not to renew the moratorium on commercial spaceflight regulation that's set to expire in 2024. And for those who aren't familiar with it, there's what basically happened, I believe it was in 2015, the Commercial Space Launch Act. Congress extended the moratorium for the FAA to regulate commercial spaceflight activities. Now, the FAA's hands aren't completely tied in this because they can regulate for safety if need be in the case of an emergency. But the idea is, other than that, their hands they're kind of restricted from what kind of regulations they can put up on the industry. I know there was a debate a couple weeks ago in Congress about this idea of renewal, even though it isn't until the end of 2024. But this is definitely a hot topic issue. And what I've been wondering is, now that they're going to be performing spaceflight activities and actually get experience with doing this, whether or not Congress might decide not to renew that moratorium. Again, that's speculation on my part, but I think as we get closer and closer to that, and as Virgin and also Blue Origin starts ramping up these space tourism flights, Congress might take that into consideration when they decide whether or not to extend the moratorium. So that's what I have for you today. I know it's a quick, short video, but I think this is extremely important. Again, extremely significant. Congratulations to Virgin Galactic for getting that launch license amended, and wishing them luck in getting space tourism moving. So again, there's a lot of things going on right now in outer space. When we talked about the Viasat case, there's been some developments in that. I might do a video on that, or I might wait until there's an actual order out of the court for it. But otherwise, things are moving, are very significant in outer space. Commercial space is still going strong, and we have a lot to look forward to. So until I talk to you next time, have a great weekend and stay safe.